Welcome back, Nerd A Verse, for another star-studded episode of MOTN Reviews, where we take a look at some of the things within the Nerdiverse and tell you if it's cool, gruel, or if it makes the boys drool. I'm, of course, Masters of the Nerdiverse, Mike G. And with me, as always, is the man himself, the baby of Rosemary's Baby. Some ways say, but some may not say. Was it Wash? Is it Wash? What's going on, sir?
Welcome. Well, thank you for having me. No to the Rosemary's Baby thing.
No.
I don't know where we're going with that, but knowing that,
You're not
yeah,
the baby,
I'm
dog?
not part. Yeah, we're not
No,
part
okay.
of that whole thing.
I would hope
So,
not, dog.
uh,
I would
I
hope
am
not.
excited to be here in the Nerdiverse tonight, talking about the reason why, uh, you know, friends can be considered enemies.
I mean, what is a friend? What what they say, medicine is just poison depending on the dosage, right? I think the same thing could be said for friends. you
Correct,
know, that
sir.
a friend could be an
Correct.
enemy depending on the dosage, right?
I was thinking about
Um,
this movie and I was like, Mike, if you call me and you're like, hey man, you want to go on a boat? I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go on the boat, bro. Cool. Now you call me and you go, hey man, you want to go to the boat? And I'm like, all right. I'm like, who's going? Oh, some people, the crew. Who's
the
the
crew.
crew? I know them.
Nah.
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 You
My
know what,
crew.
man?
I'm
I don't
cool.
think I'm going on the boat.
Watch, we really need you on that boat, bro.
Nah, bro.
So I'm
Nah,
picking you
bro.
up, right?
No, bro.
All right, watch. I'm out front of your house. It's time to go. It's time to go. Watch.
Friends?
Uh,
Question mark.
friends? Question mark. This movie, man. We'll talk about it. I talk a lot about it in our initial thoughts, but this is one of those movies, and I actually picked it in one of my top 10 for movies based on Christmas that aren't Christmas movies. If you remember correctly, I think I make this like number 4, number 3, or something like that. Because for what it wants to do, this is an excellent film. For what it wants to do. Um, Before we jump into anything, Wash, just out of nowhere, what made you want to pick this movie out of like, because out of no, because it's kind of
You,
relevant, but it's kind of not. So I'm just curious.
you don't remember our podcast very well, do you? So during the podcast, you said Rosemary's Baby, and I was like, oh yeah, we should review that. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. And I was
Sure.
like, all
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Right.
So then when it came back up, I'm like, yeah, let's do Rosemary's Baby.
I
It's
didn't know
like,
you were gonna pull the trigger. Dog.
yeah,
I was
wait,
you scared.
why'd you say it?
I was just talking, man. You
Why'd you
know,
say it?
it's
You
one
know
of
what
those
I
things where
mean?
it's like, hey man, we should go jet skiing one day. Yeah. And then you get a call like the next, hey, guess what? That next day is Saturday. Oh
Day is
crap.
today, bro. Like,
Yeah,
let's
next
do
day is
it, man.
today.
Why
Let's do
wait?
it.
Why
Well,
wait? There's
I
no
got
time. The timing is impeccable. You know what I mean?
it's crazy timing.
I didn't know that we were going to be doing this thing on the back heels of an Easter holiday, but here we are.
Right here we are. Yeah, that kind of set the mood, didn't it? On this type of movie that honestly is in a league of its own, really. Just in what it does. I don't think it's been quite duplicated ever, but we'll get into that. Before we jump in, before we start this episode, this review of Rosemary's Baby, 1968. I think this is one of the oldest movies we've done ever. This is pretty back then.
Yeah, we got to go back to maybe our random select comedy, the bug movie with the ants.
It's
What's the ant?
them in
Them,
in
them,
Young Frankenstein.
1968. I think
Yeah.
them is 1968 too.
What?
Yeah,
Good year. Good good year for
1954.
wow. Okay.
1954. So that's
Okay.
our oldest thus far.
Oldest. Yeah, makes sense. Perfect. And if you are a oldest like the Nerdiverse itself, please like this content, subscribe to the channel, and comment on your thoughts on this movie. I know a lot of people are going to see this and have never seen the movie before. It's just one of those where it's so old that people haven't seen it, right?
Oh man.
And let's get into just some initial thoughts. Like, Wash, was this a movie that you've seen before this in this review? Were you aware of it?
This is a movie that I saw as a little tyke with my
Okay.
mom probably watching, you know what I mean? And I was sitting on the floor watching it. I have not revisited it in decades, really. It's one of those things that's talked about, often talked about, but not often rewatched, even though some people do rewatch this thing every Christmas, you know, to each their own. That being said, I it's one of the pantheons. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
pantheons of horror movies. Is you said it's the like maybe the first of its kind. I had not considered what else is out there quite like it? I'm gonna have to put some thought into that, but you may be right there. And groundbreaking film as far as I would imagine like subject matter and the way it was presented goes. So 1968, but still maybe relevant in 2026. I have a question for you. How
Yes.
many years I come from LA. I was really
Mhm.
good friends with my landlord. He lived next door to me.
He was a cool guy. Yeah.
He's a cool guy, right? The how many of your neighbors you know, Mike?
0.
Is it relevant in 2026? You know what I mean? So I thought fantastic pick.
Yeah, I don't know because mind you, in this film, they're fairly young. They're young lovers. You know what I mean? She's young. He's a young up and coming actor. They're in an apartment building. It's a tight space. You get to know people. They just people. Hi, I'm Blanche. I'm down the way. So I live in a home that's very kind of we're very I don't talk to nobody because no one's scarier than the neighbors, to quote George Romero. So, your ball gets if your ball goes over my fence, it's my ball now. Don't even bother asking for it. I hate to be that kind of neighbor, but I just don't want the earth to exist when I'm in this house.
As
So yeah.
as someone who dabbles in strange things and reads strange things, it has me thinking, at what point did we as a society decide, hey, you know what? We don't need to know the people next door to us, but we can be friends with the people 3 blocks down the road or 1 mile down the road. And this movie, in my opinion, could have had something to do with that, where it's just like, you know what? We don't necessarily need to be friends with our next door neighbor. You know what I mean? This is not Three's Company all of a sudden. And I was gonna say I kind of forgot. I kind of forgot, but I was gonna piggyback off what you said in regards to 1968. Oh, you know, it's your neighbors. That's what they did in the 60s. You
Yeah.
met your neighbors, you hung out, you
Mhm.
ate, relatively normal until you see this movie, and then you go home and the neighbors, you're like,
Mm,
mm,
yeah, it's like that scene from Jeepers Creepers where they're driving down the road and they see the creeper just throw a body in a freaking tube just out of periphery, and he sees them see him, and you're like, oh snap, it's on now, right? It's like I don't want to see my neighbor doing anything. I don't want to see you in your yard. You mentioned like how long has it been and when did we get this idea that the next door neighbor is kind of non gratis, right? Don't come to my home, don't know my name, don't talk to my people. And kind of reminds me of the old school days before communities were there, where everyone just had separate cabins, log cabins in the woods, and nobody lives. You don't think anybody lives next to you in like a 3 mile radius, but then you hear your dog starts barking, or you hear like the crackling of leaves. And guess what? You're in a horror movie now because you don't know what's
you
out front. Somebody could be coming to take your house. It could be somebody waving, "Hi, you doing?" You just don't know. So I think there's
yeah.
always been like that tension between neighbors. Like this person is a little too close to my sanctuary. You know?
Personal space to the nth degree type of
Yeah.
situation. Because, I've never considered the home as a personal space type of vehicle, but it's like, yeah, man, you don't need to be that close to my home as my neighbor. And again, not necessarily dealing with Rosemary's Baby, but when you look at something like Home Improvement,
Yeah.
always the wall over the neighbor
Yeah.
Wilson.
You never
You
see
know
his
what you
face,
never
right?
see his face. It's just, hey guy, hey neighbor, yeah, quick chat.
Hmm. It's it's an interesting dichotomy with this movie and kind of like the horror that we're dealing with in this movie is the horror of the neighbor, the horror of kind of just like the horror of like gaslighting, as the kids would say, of entrapment, and just kind of feeling barricaded in your own space and almost feeling caged by it. You know what I mean? Whereas in real life, you know, there's some times where I want to go out front and sit out front, but the neighbors are out front. I don't want to talk to them. I guess I'm staying in the. It's such a weird, quiet phobia of like, crap. I'm gonna
But
go wash my car. Crap, the neighbor's washing his car. I don't want to interact with this human
if
today.
but if you knew the neighbors were cool, right? And they
Yeah,
played games and they were cool and they were mellow, no big deal. But we're all afraid that the neighbor's going to be the weird neighbor. And once
yeah,
they get attached to
and
you,
you just
it's
don't
like
know.
you
It's like,
don't know. So where did that idea get planted from? And that's what this movie had me thinking halfway through it, because I know how I am and I'm not a social a socialite by any means of the word. And the wife, Mimi, um,
yeah,
that the wife, not not her, not
not Mia
can't
Farrow.
remember her name, not Mia Farrow, but the neighbor, Mimi, the
Oh
wife.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Morehouse or something.
it's
Yeah,
like Morehouse. Like if that happened to me today, I'd be like, man,
I got to
you
figure out a way to get out of this.
like I may have
Not
to
even
move.
leave all the supernatural stuff out. Just that kind of
Just
person
yeah,
finding their way into your space. And mind you, I'm an introvert,
yeah.
so this is all coming from the view of an introvert. But if you're an extrovert, you roll those dice, right? Hey, neighbor, we're having a pool party. It's the 4th of July. Come by, bring your kids. And you roll the dice because you may get that super chill neighbor that's now your best friend. And you get to live together for decades and watch each other's kids grow. And that's your buddy. Or you get the weird neighbor that calls the cops on you because your TV's a little too loud. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't know what you're gonna get with people in the house. Your home is a human body. Think of it this way: your home is an extension of you and your body. Your living room is like your freaking chest, your chest
Yeah,
cavity. The windows are your eyes. The
right.
kitchen is your stomach, and you don't want anybody or anything getting inside you that you don't want to be inside you. So any kind of trespass that's warranted or unwarranted puts up the spidey sense. And that's with anyone, you know what I mean? Like, I don't tell people where I live, even like if we're dating and stuff. Hell no, you're not gonna know where my house
I've
is.
known you for a decade. I have no idea where you live.
And I
I
love
have
you like a
no idea.
brother.
I
You
have
don't
no
need to
idea
know
where
where I
you
live, Doug.
live,
And I
right?
don't know where you live exactly, Doug.
Know,
It's
it's like,
fine.
It's cool. It's
It's
cool.
cool. It's weird. It's just one of those things. And it's like going back to Rosemary's Baby, it's like they move into this beautiful apartment. The Dakota is the name of the building. I think it's still up to this day. Just one of the scariest architectural buildings in like ever. It's just it's imposing. Everything in this movie is shot in a way that it's so imposing. And like my initial thoughts on this movie, because like you, I used to watch this back in the day when I was a kid, but never understood the context. It was all over my head. And it wasn't until I really watched it last night where the movie was pissing me off. You know what I mean? Like how they were treating Rosemary, and because it's so manipulative and it's so nasty how it comes about. But we'll get more into that later. Yeah.
I ended up watching this literally after Easter church on Sunday, and I wound up watching myself some Rosemary Baby, and I was left with like when it ended. I had very much the same feeling I had when we finished Lighthouse. I just felt
Yeah.
uneasy. It's not that the horror was necessarily in my face, but it's what it left
Yeah.
me for the rest of the day just kind of questioning like you know what? I kind of don't feel that good. Like, and the way it's shot, I think had something to do with that because it's shot in such a I don't want to say frenetic because it's not frenetic, but it's in almost inconsistent type of
Yeah.
editing process. And at times it almost looked like angles of hallways were like tilted, like the camera was tilted. So the rest of the day I'm walking around and I just feel a bit off. And it wasn't until earlier today where that feeling finally started to dissipate. But it's like, nah, kind of a weird movie. Leaves you feeling a little strange.
Yeah, this is a mean-spirited movie. It's not, and it's so subtle in its mean-spiritedness that you're wondering why I feel this way after watching it, right? Like, I need a palate cleanse after watching this movie. This movie kinda made me feel like I had emotional food poisoning. I felt
Yeah.
uneasy, right? Like you said, the way it's shot in these angles and the way it's shot by Roman Polanski is just so unorthodox that you never feel quite level with the movie. You're always feeling a little on the back foot, and kind of like Rosemary. Um, so you're always kind of left ajar, and things just don't feel comfortable or right, or so you're balancing with the movie, and by the time it ends and with the way it ends, you're just kind of like left with Jesus. Why did I watch that? Ugh, get it
I
off,
don't remember what I watched Sunday evening, but I
Ugh,
definitely was trying to cleanse it out
yeah,
of me before Monday morning came. I don't think it worked. I think yesterday, like yesterday morning, I was still kind of just like, man, I don't feel
feel good,
right.
bro. Like, I
Yeah.
watched this and felt like I needed an emergency. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I coming down with something? What does this movie do
Yeah.
to me? It's infected
But
me.
that's why it's one of the
It's
greats. That's why it's a
exactly.
pantheon horror movie. Especially because it's not in your face necessarily, and you do need to be paying attention, or else it's
They're
gonna
like,
go over your head.
or it's
But
gonna hit you hard. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Or it's gonna hit you hard. One thing I wanted to talk about, and this is in no way something that I kind of wanted to throw this in left field. Let's just take a let's just stop for a second, right? And talk about the
Okay,
true, yeah, talk about the true horror.
MOTN ID channel.
Robotian true crime, right? No, I want to sit and talk about the movie, not necessarily the themes or the plot, but everything around this movie was also steeped in horror, based upon Roman Polanski's, Roman Polanski's involvement with Shannon Tate in the very real Tate murders with the now infamous Manson family, and like how that circled the movie throughout its entire production to the point where you know people thought the people thought the filming of this was cursed, like for real. Like there's bad juju on this movie, and everybody's getting hit. The producer, Howard uh it was not Frank Castle, you damn nerd. The guy the guy who directed House on Haunted Hill, um William Castle. He almost like died in a plane crash and got super sick or something. Like a bunch of crazy stuff happened around this movie. And I think the cap shot was really just what was going on with this movie at the time, and like the very real life murders that were happening around this, and how did were was are you familiar with any of this
I
story,
wasn't
Wash?
necessarily familiar with any of that backstory that's going around it, but I guess when it was shot, or just how the film looked, because it was the late '60s, I just kind of, and Mia Farrow, for whatever reason, I I don't know. She kind of reminds you of Sharon Tate a little bit. I guess I don't know if that's
Wow, that's a pull.
intentional or not,
Yeah, I
but
got you.
like it kind of does that. So yeah, I didn't really necessarily put them together, but to hear it, it's like, yeah, that makes sense, because like that seems completely reasonable. Any any film that I've seen about Manson and the Manson murders were like reproduced to look like that, looks like this, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And
yeah.
so yeah, that's where I was coming from with that angle.
Yeah,
But
it's
no.
just a wild kind of like coincidence that all this was happening around the same time, and it kind of it was kind of a miasma over the film, and it just even added more mystique to the movie. You know what I mean? People just wanted to go see it more, which it's just a weird, almost kind of like one of the main characters in this movie, Guy,
God.
kind of like gets famous through a dark happenstance. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like this movie blew up because of a dark happenstance. In the movie, Guy got his big shot because the lead of the movie he was going to be just happened to go blind out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It was like physically damaged, and Guy's like, "Oh, oops, all success," and and nobody
Oops.
questioned it. Oops. We shook up the bag and we caught your name and it was
I'm on
you.
top.
I'm on
Oops.
top. Isn't that crazy? It's funny how things work out. So it's like this dark
Damn.
connection to that where it's like, yeah, this movie was successful, all right, but at what cost? I just think those it's hard to talk about Rosemary's Baby to me without kind of at least touching on this real evil that was kind of circling the film.
No, that's super interesting, and I would definitely watch any type of documentary or anything like that relating the two together because I think that that would be an interesting watch. The other thing I was going to say about this film, I was always confusing this with The Omen as well.
Yeah, yeah, I could see
I was
that.
getting those
Yeah.
two like mixed up because when you think about Rosemary's Baby, you know what Rosemary's Baby is, and then The Omen, which is short 10 years later, they just kind of fell on top of each other in my brain. So when I was starting to watch Rosemary's Baby, I thought I was going to be getting The Omen for a little bit until I was like, no, this is Rosemary's Baby. But then it got me wondering, is there a Rosemary's Baby 2? Because there really should be.
There's a really bad remake with
There
like
is. Okay.
that happened recently because I apparently Zoe Saldana was Rosemary in that or
What?
something crazy. Yeah, I didn't even know. I was doing
What?
research for the podcast. And I was like, they made a remake to Rosemary's Baby. That must have been hot garbage because I never heard of it. And apparently, look at it's floating around. It looks horrible. It looks like absolute ass crackers, Doug.
Damn. Okay.
That's what
I
happens
don't
when you
want to
try to
see a
remake.
remake.
No, I'm okay. I'm
I
good.
don't want to see a remake.
I'm super
Yeah.
good. Big things have small beginnings. I want to talk about without going into the plot, just kind of like this movie reminds me a lot of David Cronenberg's The Fly, where it's not the monster that's the story. It's the man becoming the monster. That's so horrifying getting to see that breakdown of humanity until he becomes the fly. With Rosemary's Baby, you can see the breakdown of Rosemary from the very beginning to the very kind of whispers of things starting to the very end of the film where it's just true existential dread, right? She meets homegirl
Laundry
in
room.
the laundry room. Hey, that's an interesting necklace. What is that, right? I may have a new friend. Guess what? She's gone 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And now that trauma is already starting to impact Rosemary. And she kind of doesn't understand why. Wash, did you like the slow burn of this film or were you bored with it?
No, slow burn worked for me. I appreciated the film for what it is, folks. That if you're watching this and you're like Rosemary's Baby, what are these guys talking about? This is not a film that was made in 2020. You know what I mean? This is a film that was made in 1968. There is filmmaking, acting going on,
Acting.
things of this nature, story, plot. So I was completely fine with a little bit of the slow burn in the beginning. I'd say that for me, I guess it's just the way I look at things now. When I think about like what this movie was about, and even from the beginnings, it's just so much wanting. And again, coming off Wonder Man and me being in LA and all of this, I'm looking at Guy. We're on the Hollywood is big stuff. Everybody wants to go to Hollywood. It's the late '60s. Everybody's great. You know what I mean? You got a bunch of stuff going on in Hollywood. I understand the need to try and to make it and to get out there. And what I really liked between these two was that real marriage that it looked like they had, and his give and take in that marriage, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm really focused on my work in the beginning before things got really gnarly." You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
talking very in the beginning, like during these scenes when he's really trying to just make it and go out there and do it. And it's like I felt that frustration with him, and I also felt that beginning of, hey, we're starting out. I was like, that's a nice brownstone for two people that are broke. You know
Jesus,
what I
right?
mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how much a broke actor and you aren't working. I don't know how much money this thing costs, but no, I can't afford it today.
Yeah, right? Like, what was like, Rosemary must have had money and they just never talked about it or
I'm
something, right?
like, we,
She had to be floating my boy if he was a struggling actor, you know what I'm saying? Getting bit parts in Luther and things like that, you know what I mean? Uh, I like the quietness of the beginning. I like the very grounded realism that was brought to their relationship. You know, they're sitting on the floor with no lights, really no furniture. They're just about to move into their new spot and they're eating like Chinese food or something on the floor. It's just the most people, you know, couples who have been there, you know what I mean? And my one of my favorite scenes of the film is so awkward because it's like, let's make love. Okay. And it's the most dry, kind of realistic, like romance scene you've ever seen. There's no music, there's no fanfare, there's no beautiful Dutch angles. It's just the camera doesn't move, and these two people just quietly just getting undressed, and it's so awkward and so like real. And Guy was like, all you had to say was the word. My man just started getting undressed, you know. And it's so like unapologetically human that you kind of
yes,
feel for them right off the bat. You're just like,
yes.
oh, okay, these are people in New York City in the 60s in real life. And this is what's going on. So I love the beginning of this movie. I think it was well needed. If they would have went from zero to Brownstone, I don't think it would have had the you would have I don't think you would have cared enough about them to actually see both sides of their equation.
No, absolutely not. For the ending to have any type of real impact and for like the story to actually have impact, no, I think you need the small build up that we got. And this film is a 2 hour, 17-minute film. So
It's a long
even though
film.
it had been lengthy, but I got to be honest with you, I didn't really notice it by the end. I didn't really notice it by the end. It was only in the beginning where they were fleshing it out a bit. But and I have no idea what the slide is next. But the neighbors were God. What I keep looking for their name because I have it here somewhere. But the neighbors were loud enough to where they move things along. Like this woman coming in every 30 seconds, like
Oh,
yelling
we
about
talk about it.
something. Yeah, there you
Oh,
go.
we
All right,
oh,
go
we
ahead.
talk about it. Yeah, man. We definitely talk about those the people in Rosemary's life. You
The
know what I
cast of
mean?
vets.
The cast, the vets. This bird is from Brazil. Let's talk about spoilers, man, for a almost 50,000-year-old movie. So if you've never watched Rosemary's Baby, don't turn off this podcast. Whatever you do, don't turn it off. Pause it. Go watch Rosemary's Baby. Come back because we're about to break stuff down like a fraction. You know what I'm saying? Any final thoughts, Wash, about the everything around the movie before we get into the real nitty gritty?
No, man. No, I think that'll sum it up unless something pops into my head in regards to the actual movie making of it all. Because I did try to really separate the man from the movie when I was watching this. So,
Yeah,
you know, in the
yeah,
very beginning, it was hard to get out of my head, but as it went on, it's like just let it go and and move on with the business of the day, which is a slow burn psychological horror film. And, you know, um, I'm here
yeah.
for it.
It's like watching a Woody Allen movie, right? It's like we all know the guy's a creep, but you're not gonna watch Arthur, dog. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just it sucks separating the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Especially for moments like this where we're reviewing the movie of somebody who's infamous, who literally escaped to the country and never came back. You know what I mean? And Roman Polanski, extra he was extradited to like France or something and just never came back to the U.S. All those decades ago. I don't even know if the guy's still alive. I wonder
Yeah,
if
he is.
dang it'd be the evil ones that stick around forever,
He-
don't it? Hey, Dios mío, bro. Speaking of Dios mío, the
Are
damn
we talking
plot.
spoilers?
Yes, we're talking
Oh,
spoilers. Break it down,
you,
Wash.
all right. You flipped through, and I was like, did we hit the spoilers already? Or no? All
Nah,
right, go on.
no, we're talking about the plot now. Let's do it. Wash, break it down. What's this movie about?
Essentially speaking, this movie is about a young couple who wants to have a baby. And you know what? It's in the title, Rosemary's Baby. So if you get towards the end of the movie and you're like, you know what? Nothing's happened. It's in the title. It's a movie about a couple trying to have a baby. Now, while they're trying to have a baby, they meet a strange couple, said Cassavetes, dude in the background there, who is related to a mysterious occultist named Arthur Mercado, give or take.
Mercado, yeah.
Mercado. And yeah, shenanigans ensue after that. A deal is apparently made. Rosemary goes through a lot.
Hell, literal
A lot,
hell.
a lot. And yeah, we have the ending of the movie, which I doubt we'll get to quite yet, but that is the
Yeah.
plot.
It is Rosemary's Baby. It is literally Jaws, right? It's like there is no confusion about what this movie is about. You know
The
what I mean?
reason I said it like that is because about an hour, 30 minutes in, now look, I wasn't looking, I wasn't expecting
Where's the
Avengers, right?
baby?
But I was still thinking Omen in my head. So it's like
Yeah.
this thing isn't moving along at all. Like we're still, and then it's like, no, bro, it takes 9 months to have a baby, man. It's
Hmm.
Rosemary's Baby, bro. Like
That's that's why I
not
thought it.
complicated.
That's why I thought of it like The Fly, right? You're watching The Fly, and it's like, when do we get to The Fly, right? We're not getting The Fly until the last 5 minutes of the movie. You know what I mean? It's not about The Fly. It's about the journey to The Fly. You know what I mean? It's not about. It's really not about Rosemary's Baby. It's about Rosemary's journey to the
To the
baby.
baby.
You know what I mean? And how all that is set up from the jump. Like I was thinking, like, when did Guy make the deal? I can't pinpoint exactly when it happened. Was it even before they moved in? Maybe. Maybe that was the crux of the deal. Is get your wife, get yourself in this house, and we'll do the rest. Stand back, let us work type situation. I can't pinpoint when Guy sold his soul. I don't know if it. I can't find it.
I would say I thought about that, and the same reason you are, and it is left ambiguous. We don't know when the
We
deal
just
was
yeah.
made, but I assume that the deal was made on the next night when Guy says, "Yeah, I'm going to go back to the cast of Vans. He's got some really
Hmm.
good stories." I'm assuming that's the night the deal was made, but the deal could have been made that night before as well, like when they were actually having the dinner party, and going on from there. We don't know. The reason I say it wasn't made earlier or previous to that is simply because we then the neighbor, the chick who dies in the laundry room,
Yeah.
it's like I that probably wouldn't have been ideal. It's like let's wait for this next person to leave and then we'll move in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I would say that it happened after that. So my
Yeah.
2 cents
Because
on it.
it's almost like they needed the younger person because then maybe that was a candidate, and Rosemary came in as this perfect, unspotted lamb. And this person, and the friend was a drug addict. She would do heroin. She was living on the streets. Maybe they picked her up because they were grooming her, just like they started grooming Rosemary. And they're like, oh man, this is the unspotted lamb. This is the perfect vessel for the Dark Lord. So they got her up out of there because she was wearing the same necklace they make Rosemary wear. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me think like it was like a Dooku versus Anakin type situation where it was like, yeah, you're a good candidate, but this is the best candidate. I'm already making this. I'm already making plans to get you up out of here. You know?
I kind of thought, and I guess I don't know. I guess I hadn't thought about that as a possibility, the Anakin Dooku Palpatine like tie-in, but
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking that the lady in the laundry room she lost it. She couldn't handle it. She went
Hmm.
through it. She was pregnant, but as we see what happens with Rosemary is she quickly starts breaking down. It does not take long before like something is up. And I just think that the lady in the laundry room, when she killed herself, if she killed herself,
If
that
she,
was
yeah,
done by reasons of not being able to deal with what was going on with her emotionally because of the reasons you mentioned. You know what I mean? Because of her past. She didn't have a guy, she didn't have a husband, she wasn't trying
Mhm.
to have a baby. All these reasons, and she just freaked out and died. And so then it's like, oh, and now this couple is here. But honestly, Mike, I think yours makes more sense than mine.
I don't know. I mean, it's like you said, it's left for discussion. It's never really clearly stated. The Cassavetes were downstairs when it all happened. Of course they were, right? They're at the crust of everything. Oh, poor girls. I don't, I didn't see that she was headed for self-destruction. She was just fine, and it's just one of those things where it's like it's all a little too neat. You know what I mean? So, did she throw herself out of that building, or was she thrown out of that building? We'll never know. But I would like to mix both of our ideas. Like, yeah, she was going through the same kind of treatment as Rosemary. She didn't make it. She didn't have a guy to keep her in line. You know what I'm saying? That evil doctor will talk about to keep her sedated and to keep her docile and controllable. And homegirl just couldn't handle it. You
Just
know what I
couldn't
mean?
handle it. I thought it
It,
was more of very much a Lethal Weapon opening sequence
yeah,
like situation, and it's like I'm hanging out, and oh shit, oh well, that went to bad,
I think about
certainly.
like living. Oh no, I think about like as not even a woman, as someone weaker and having a more dominating partner of being in a place where you can't really do anything. Like this movie would make me nauseous just because she honestly couldn't do anything in this situation. The way this film was shot was so imposing. Guy was always standing over her. Men were always standing over her, like not even showing their face, just like their torso, like, do it, take these pills, don't ask questions, right? And she was always kind of like, because she's nice, okay, sure, why not? You know what I mean?
I don't know if nice is the word. I would say
Like
that not complimentary. She that not people pleasing necessarily,
not
but she
people
wasn't trying to
pleasing.
ruffle feathers. She wasn't
Yes,
trying to ruffle feathers. She
non-confrontational.
she was non-confrontational in manner. She's like, you know what? Whatever makes all of this stop, let's just deal that. That's much easier than going to the battle, because we do see her go to the battle a couple of
Uh,
times throughout the course of the
yeah,
movie. And it's
100%.
like, so she's capable of doing it. It strikes me as Mia Farrow's character is just more like, you know what? All right, you win. Let's just keep the peace. Whatever. We
Because
can have potatoes tonight. That's fine.
it's the subtlety of this whole movie. One of my favorite scenes is where she's just chilling at the house, right? And she's putting on her record, and Guy's not there. She's just kind of getting in the zone, right? And Miss Castavet just comes in like a bull in a china shop. Hey, I got my friend Audrey here. And, she hasn't seen the house. And you can see it on Rosemary's face, man, God, I got to deal with this right now. Can they just go away? You know, and that's we go back to the neighbors, right? And it's like she is so non-confrontational that she just agrees to let these two, just come in her house and disrupt her peace. Because she could never have peace because that's part of
No,
the indoctrination of her surrender, right? Never a moment of peace for Rosemary in this film. You know what I mean?
that's interesting. I like that. That's interesting. I hadn't
Think about it.
considered it, but yeah,
Never a moment of peace for her.
and actually, we're not there yet, but I definitely think it's worth a rewatch for me, because I think rewatching it a second time is going to give me a different view on it, and it's like, is instead of me thinking she was just giving up her peace and surrendering her peace to her neighbors, versus, oh no, we don't give her peace.
We
Like,
don't
there
give her
is there
peace.
is not a moment to think. We will just be
No.
there all the time.
There
And for
was
me, that's a like in my real life, that's like one of the most terrifying things. I just don't want that.
yeah.
It's like, I don't mind, but I certainly don't want someone, especially like, are you okay, Mike? Mike, you okay? Hey,
Mike, you
Mike,
okay?
Mike,
Oh
it's
my god.
cool. You
You
cool?
good?
Hey, Mick,
Why aren't you
what's
answering
going
my
on, man?
phone? You're not
Hey,
answering my phone. You good?
I
Are
called
we
you an
good?
hour ago,
Why are you
bro.
mad
You
at
you
me?
all
Why are
right?
you mad at me? We good? Like, I don't know.
And
Mm.
then tomorrow comes and it's like, yo, Mike, what's going on, man? How
Yeah,
you
what's going
doing?
on? Good. Good morning, man. Grand Rising King. How you doing? It's 6:30 in the morning. You at work? You want to talk during lunch? Yeah, man. We got to chop it up, man. I got something crazy to tell you. Why aren't you answering your text? I texted you twice last night. You didn't answer. You
Bro,
must have been asleep. What time did you go to sleep last night? He's like, no, stop. Dog. Like,
bro.
give me a minute to breathe, my man. I love you. Stop. And she gets that from Guy. She gets that from her the Cassavetes. She gets that from her doctor who just hit her up randomly. You know what I mean? And she gets that from even the like other people in Guy's life that just kind of show up um to kind of break her peace. Um I don't want to get too ahead of myself because
Hmm.
we got to talk about the dream sequence. We got to talk about
Oh,
the indoctrination, but what comes to mind is the party she has. Hey, look,
hmm.
I'm not inviting any of those people that you're hanging with. I'm inviting my friends that I haven't seen in a while. The age limit is 35 and down. I don't want any of these people in my house. And the second she gets that idea, here comes Miss Castavet on the phone. Or not even on the phone. She's in her house. Here, drink this. Keep drinking this gross shit I want you to drink. Oh, you're having a party, huh? That's neat. You want me to take coats at the door? No, I don't want you here. Like, no, it's okay. I can always, help you cook. I don't want to make sure you're healthy. Please get out of my house. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because there's a scene where she's in the kitchen crying. She's having a moment, right? She's still having the pains. We got to talk about those fucking pains. And her homegirls who are not a part of this are consoling her, and guys try to literally muscle his way into the situation. And they kick out ladies only. They try to do it nice and sweet, but you can see the influence scratching at the door.
yeah.
And the only time she really gets any true help, it's like, girl, you got to get a second opinion. This doctor is no one's supposed to be feeling what you're feeling this far along. This could be a problem. Go get a second opinion. Go get a second opinion. And it's like they never let Rosemary breathe in this movie.
Mhm.
Like it's so oppressive. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is very much oppressive. It is very much suffocating in nature, and it was made to be that way, which
By
is why I
design.
think, like when you think about how it was shot and all these tight shots, it's like why is the hallway 3 feet? Like can't we get like what are
Yeah,
we
you caught
doing,
that, huh?
man?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that is one of the things that gives the movie its originality. There's
Mhm.
very few, I don't want to say horror movies, there's very few movies that can suffocate you or let you breathe just in the way that they're shot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And this is one of those where you feel, man, I kind of need to go outside just because I feel a little bit of cramped and trapped. So,
It,
great job with the uneasiness in that
yeah.
aspect of it all.
It's the way Roman shot it. He lingers on things, right? Like there's a shot in the very beginning of the movie where they're getting into the elevator, and for some reason he sits on the bellhop's shoes. For some reason, he just stuck on him for a good maybe 15-second count. And like, why are we still looking at his shoe? Like you see, like the floors go up, like they're ascending the Tower of Babel or something crazy, whatever the metaphor was. He lingers on like bookshelves and like what are they reading, and it's just it focuses on things that you don't normally focus on, which gives it like a kind of dreamy feeling.
I told a friend of mine we were reviewing this, and they're an older type of person, and they were like, "Well, we're old too. I don't want to say that. They're from this
We're
generation. Pardon me.
seasoned. I'd say we're
Like,
seasoned.
I mean, the 68. It's not. It's like 9 years, bro.
Yeah,
Like, all right, whatever.
fine.
Anyway, he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. It had that long opening sequence over the brownstone, and it's like 15 minutes. It's like, what are we doing? We haven't
Yeah,
opened this thing yet." It's like,
nah,
no, we got to cruise to this
we gotta
house, bro.
cruise through this house.
Slowly. You need to know where you live. And that's, I think, when we start, you know, as like the nerds do, pulling at, oh, what makes this horror, what makes this better than it, it's like, well, yeah, this is one of the things that you don't get in it. You feel the clown, but you don't necessarily feel the clown breathing on your back. Like
Right.
this lady,
Yeah.
this lady, I was upset at this lady. I'm like, lady, would you get the bleep out of this house for a minute, man? Let this woman chill. Nope,
No,
nope,
you make an
nope.
excellent point that this is horror. Don't get it twisted, right? This is a horror movie, but what kind of horror are we being faced with? This isn't a psycho killer knocking at the door. This is a relatively bloodless film. It's the horror of entrapment. It's the horror of your fate, your sealed fate. There, given this situation and given the nature of Rosemary, unless she just flipped her mind and literally became Ellen Ripley and just blasted her way out, there's no way she was escaping this
R-
situation. There's
Right.
no way. It's a bleakness to it. You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
there's no like she was never going to have a happy ending. You know what I'm
that would have been
saying?
awesome. That she just went in the other
Just
room. She got her
shotgun.
like, all right, let's go.
Mommy's home, bitches.
Like turns
Ooh,
into a completely different
different
film at
movie.
the
If
end.
this was made in
It's
2025, that probably would have happened, bro.
that
You know,
absolutely probably would have happened. So interesting.
interesting. So before we get too crazy, with friends like these, right? Who needs enemies? We've been talking about them before, but I really want to ring home the desolation and the despair that these people bring to Rosemary specifically. It's really a I'm really alone in this, aren't I? Type vibe where everyone's against you. And the people who aren't are quickly dispatched. Every single person that tries to help her is either incapacitated or killed. You know, every single person, like her buddy, who was like, "Hey, I want to give you this book. Something weird's going on." He's just in a coma. Okay, my man
Again,
just
we saw two different things. You were like they were incapacitated or killed. I'm like, oh, they just kind of went away. I wasn't
no
looking
man,
at it so
no, they were
harshly.
incapacitated,
Like,
bro. It was like a day. Like
you're
one
right.
phone call. They were monitoring her so
You're right.
crazy. There's a scene where she's at the phone booth trying to get the doctor to give her a second opinion. And there's a guy with his back to the it's so imposing, right? She's like, I need to see you today. I need to see you today. Something's wrong. This doctor, he's crazy. And some guy walks up and just puts his back towards the phone
Phone
booth.
booth.
And it's so creepy because he's just posted and it plays with you because that any other situation that's no problem. He's just waiting for a phone booth. It's the 60s. But given the nature of this film, it's extremely imposing. And it just ends up being nothing. Or was it? You know, it's crazy.
It, I assumed it was nothing, but you have me wondering how much of this was really played out from the beginning. It is almost worth a second watch because it's like, when did the plot begin? Was the plot already?
The
Was
plot was
the hit
started
on
before.
with the la 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 la? It's like,
La,
oh yeah,
la.
this is already done, bro. You don't even know yet. Anyway, before we move on, I just want to say at the beginning, my tagline for this film was, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I did not know this. I did not know that this was part. Nice work, Mike G.
This is why
Nice,
you're my best
nice
friend.
work,
This is why you're my
bro.
buddy,
Nice
bro.
work. That's interesting. So,
Nerdiverse minds think alike, bro. Um, it is crazy when you think about it's almost like a dance the way they manipulate Rosemary. Like you said, guys, like, hey, I'm gonna go back and hang back with the Cassavetes. You go to sleep. I'm gonna chop it up with them for a little while. Next thing you know, he's starting to get more distant from her. He's because he knows he's betraying her for his big break, right? Um, the part where with the chocolate mousse, Mrs. Cassavetes just literally dances in mousse, and she just hands it off. She doesn't stick around like she normally wants to, right? Nah, here you go. Here's the bag. Make sure she eats the shit. We out, we out, we out, we out. So he gives her the mousse, right? And she's eating it. Oh, it tastes kind of weird. And then he starts giving an attitude. What's wrong with the mousse? Why don't you eat it? Just eat it. I'm not feeling it. You know, it has like this weird aftertaste. Why are you guys gonna make a big deal out of stuff? He starts pressuring her to eat it so like normal but unnormal. You know what I mean? Like, why are you making such a case of this? Just eat. And her being non-confrontational. Sure, hon. I'll swallow it. Obviously, this is upsetting you. I'll swallow it down, right? And it's like, no, babe, no, don't do it. You don't understand what's happening. 2 seconds later, she's wobbly in the kitchen, right? You're never getting a drink again, right? And 5 minutes before, he was like, "Hey, let's have kids. Let's just have kids, man. Let's figure it out." Right? And that's when the ritual happens, which is shot like a dream because I didn't remember all this that was happening. I thought it went straight
Mhm.
into the no, it's like she's in bed and she's going in and out of sleep. So she's going in and out of dream and she's on some kind of dock with her friends. She's having conversations with herself while they're prepping her for the ritual. And things start to change within the dream. People start showing up, people she doesn't know. They start undressing her. It's so uncomfortable and so jarring how they do it. And it's honestly one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. Just imagine you're in a bed incapacitated. There's just naked old people staring down at you, fucking out of nowhere. That's it's
It's
insane. It's insane, bro. Like just naked old people, just like you know, can she hear any of this? Nah, she had to put. She's dead. She might as well be dead. She's fine. They start chanting. The Pope is there for some reason. And what's
dude.
crazy is he was in New York that week. So it's like, what are we doing here? Um, and you
Well, we
don't
don't know everybody who was in that room at the end, which is interesting. I wonder if the Pope was in that room at the end as one of the guests, because there were quite a few people in there. I did not catch them all.
recognize
Keep
from
moving
the
on.
movie.
Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, interesting scene, interesting way it was shot. Very Cthulhu-ish in nature. When was Cthulhu a thing? When did
H.P.
that hit the scene?
Lovecraft's
70s, early,
no, like
eight,
30s.
30s.
When what was H.P. Lovecraft? Like 40s, 30s, something
40s,
like that?
I
I don't quite
anyway, yes,
he's
very Cthulhu in nature, like as far as like the twisted dream end of it goes and how it all goes down. Again, not necessarily what you're expecting when you're watching Rosemary's Baby. You're expecting maybe something with a tad subtler touch, but
yeah,
no, it didn't go subtle at all.
at
It
all.
went no, no, this is where we don't go subtle. We're gonna hit you right over the head with this
We're gonna
strangeness.
make this
And
as tough as
yeah.
possible to watch.
Mhm.
Where she's literally being raped, and she's like, "Will you forgive me, Father?" And he makes her kiss the damn ring, as you see the furry Beelzebub handling business. It's so wrong. It's so messed up. And the worst part is that the next morning, Guy is like, "Oh my," he's like, "Before you even say anything, I cut my nails. Sorry, I was kind of crazy last night." What? Yeah, you kind of passed out. And, I kind of just went for it. What you mean? You just kind of went for it? Don't make a big deal out of it. I was kind of drunk too, so my bad. No worries. And it's just like, well, no, you don't wipe that away.
Oh,
Even she was like, "No, that's weird, bro. Why did you do that? We could have waited." Just kind of, no big deal. Sorry, I was kind of an animal last night. Don't worry about it. And she even remembered, like, was I raped last night? No, you were passed out. And I kind of just handled. And it's like, oh my God, it's just so icky. You know what I mean? It's an icky feeling. Like you said, the whole movie's subtle. It's like it's almost like a car crash. You're driving and everything's smooth, then the car crash happens, and then everything's smooth again.
and
Because
then
it tries,
everything just kind of goes. It's
but
fine.
it's crazy. Like it's fine. Like, no, it's not.
You
Like
can't walk now.
yeah, I
Oh.
just got my I just you know, you just got your whole world
like,
shook.
like,
Let's act
yeah.
like nothing happened, right?
Yeah.
And since that part, she is handled. She has handlers. There's people around her. You can't leave the house, right? You know, you're with child. You're not feeling well. You're having these pains. You're losing weight. Most pregnant people gain weight. You lose a little before you gain it. No, since when, Doug?
And that's
You
one of
know,
the things, and that's where that's after the pregnancy happens, that's where this movie really starts to take hold of me. And like it's like, oh, this is kind of messed up, because people and people who delusionally lie to themselves about stuff.
thousand
And
percent.
you're like, that's not how this works. And they're like, no, no, it's fine. No, everybody does that a little bit. And you're like, no, they really
No,
don't. No,
no, they
they
really
really
don't.
don't. And so, she's now trapped in her own delusion not even delusion, the delusion that's been created
The
for her,
illusion.
the
Yeah.
illusion that and she's trapped in it because she barely knows what's real and what's not anymore. And that is a terrible, terrible place to be. So with friends like these, you really don't need enemies. You really don't.
It's like I think about that evil doctor who's like, your friends are going to tell you certain things. Don't listen to them. They're dumb. Books are going to tell you something. Books don't know anything. I do. Listen to me. Normally you'll get like, prenatal, postnatal, whatever. That's dumb. Your neighbor's a botanist. Just drink whatever she tells you to drink. You know what I'm saying? It's like, don't ask questions. Don't read books. Don't educate yourself. We'll take care of it. And she's okay. And it's like, I would have talked. No, he's the best in the city. The best in the city. You'll be a fool not to listen to his
The
beautiful
best,
tutelage.
Jerry, the
The best,
best.
Jerry. It's gold, Jerry. It's gold. You know, and it never vibes with her ever, right? Through the entire pregnancy. And it's not till, and I guess we can move on to the next slide. It's not until she starts to understand what's going on, which makes it even darker, right? The seduction of the innocent. She starts off as this innocent, you know, Rosemary. She just wants to have kids. She doesn't really want to worry about it. By the end of the film, she's so broken down that she surrenders to it. That I think is the biggest gut check of the entire. Now, if she would have went out fighting and died and just fought them and they end up killing her, all right, Rosemary, you did it. You know what I'm saying? You're in a bad situation. But no, she gives into it. She accepts it. She just resigns to the evil. And I think that's what messed me up the most is that in these situations in real life, people will just are okay with being bad people because it's the easier of the outs. And as a man who believes in, truth, justice, and, you know, the good way, it's like it broke my heart a little bit because I forgot it was like that, where Rosemary just kind of succumbed to the evil. What are your thoughts on that? Did that bother you as much as it bothered me?
For me, it changed the entire aspect of the movie because it became a movie. It became more than just a movie about a bad like situation and a, let's say, gaslighting situation and a bunch of wrongness. It became everybody's wrong for a
Ro-
bunch of different reasons, right?
Yeah,
And it's like, look, as soon as, and I'm assuming we can start talking about the end here and how
yeah,
that all.
we're
All
about
right,
at the
all
end.
right,
Yeah,
all right. So like when we get to the end and Mary finds out, or Mary, what the hell's her name?
Mary and Rosemary, you're close
Rose,
enough. Yeah.
yeah, Rosemary finds out and she goes into the other room and they're all sitting there and they're having a party and it's like, yes, you just birthed the devil's baby. Great. As soon as Castavan comes over and gives her that sales pitch about you can be the mother, you can take care of them because you've been with Rosemary this whole movie, because all she wants is to have a baby because of her nature to not necessarily ruffle feathers. As soon as the sales pitch happens, the camera goes on her and I'm like, oh no, she's gonna do this
Oh
deal. Like
no.
she's
Yeah.
in. And honestly, that is what left me with unease like the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Because it was just the acknowledgement and the acceptance. After you spit in dude's face, you know how completely terrible this whole thing is. And you're just like, but I do want to have a baby. And for me, at this stage where in my life, what I think about is, some of the ethics of our character, and it's like,
Very
like, what do you like for a baby? Like it's worth having the devil's baby just to have a baby. You couldn't go have another baby somewhere. Nah,
good.
no, this is
No.
my baby. After
She wasn't making
everything
it out that room, bro. She was not
and
making it out that room.
it was like they had kept it from her. So, like what am I gonna do? Leave on my own accord? So I don't know, man. The end really made
Messed me
me
up.
go. It was like, man, not only are they terrible people, but she in
She
herself is kind of a terrible person. And thus, yeah. And if you want to come at me for saying Rosemary's terrible person for agreeing to kind of take care of the devil's baby, you know what? I'll take that smoke. I'll take the
y-
smoke.
you know what's funny? And they even throw a monkey wrench in that because there is, like you said, there's a point in the film where she fights back. She says, "Screw all of this. This is crazy," right? She educates herself. She starts reading up on the stuff. She sees through the lies. She pulls a knife on Guy. She runs and escapes them. One of the most scary scenes of the movie is where she's walking through her house and you hear the front door open and she runs back and
Oh
hides
yeah.
from Guy. And there's no sound. It's just the sound of her feet kind of thump, 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 thump. And it's like, oh my God, this is so tense. What's happening? And Guy's just getting ready for the party. Mind you, she goes to go see the doctor that's not part of this. James Brolin, not James Brolin, the guy from Beethoven, the dad from Beethoven, uh, with the dog. Forget his name. He plays the doctor, the good doctor. And she's
Okay.
telling him all this crazy. Oh man, look at my books and Satanist, and out to get me. And he's just sitting there like stone faced, just like, yep, sounds about right. She's like, you believe me? Like, yeah, we live in I don't believe in all that, but I know there's a bunch of crazies out there. Stay in this room and go to sleep. You know, like, don't go anywhere. I'll take care of it. Once again, trusting in someone else. And by the time she wakes up, the jig is up and he's in on it too. You just can't win, right? Get in the car. It's the craziest scene. The doctor walks in. He's just standing over her, not saying anything. It's so like bad dog imposing. Just get in the car. Like, come on, you're coming with us. Grabs her by the arm, right? He does the whole little bad kid grab by the arm and throws her in a taxi, and they head back to the house, right? She gets so worked up, and so she just induces. They induce labor. I was supposed to have my baby in a hospital. Now you're having it here, right? When no one else could see. She has the baby, and they're like, "Yeah, the baby didn't make it," and they're already talking about, "Well, you're fine. You should be able to have another one. No big deal." What are you talking about? Where's my baby? The baby passed away. Baby's gone. Anyway, you should be fine. Just rest up for a few days. You'll be all right. No, where is my child? You guys, I know you guys took it. You took it, right? And she finally learns the truth of everything. And like you said, it's it's the death of all certainty, right? It's like you think your hero will in these movies good always defeats evil, right? It's just how it goes. The good guys win, right? And
Definitely evil.
they say evil wins when good men do nothing is a quote that I hear a lot. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like you said, the whole movie, Rosemary's, it's okay, Jonathan or Jess, I'm gonna protect you. We're gonna figure this out together. Rachel or Abernathy or whatever, and she's so immersed in her child that when the time comes and it's literally hell on earth, she's just like, maybe this won't be so bad.
Maybe this won't be so bad. Which are, by the way, folks, famous last words. It's going to
Mhm.
be terrible. It's going to
Guess
be
what?
awful. It's going to be worse than what you thought it was going
It's
to
going to
be.
be bad.
It's going to be bad. And so, yeah, that the way it wraps up, it really, it made the movie in so many ways. It made it rewatchable in so many ways. It was impactful. Overall, I thought that it did its job. That's for certain.
It's
It
sure
did its job.
it did its job. With that said, we're about at that final verdict time. Wash. Given all that we've said about this film, the breakdown, the analysis, the metaphors, from zero, this is going to be a tough 0 out of 5. From 0 out of 5 bassinets. How
Okay.
about that?
Thank you.
Because that could have went a bunch of different
Thank
ways.
you.
I'm trying my
Thank you.
best. What do you rank Rosemary's Baby?
considering our previous slide, I'm assuming I know what you were about to say, and it's like, nah, it's not gonna
Nah,
work.
nah, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna
Angel
work.
and devil on my
Uh,
shoulder. The angel
so
one, bro.
out of five bassinets, here's what I'm going to say about this. For a 1968 film, I am going to give this, especially considering pantheon of horror films, it is a classic. It is one that is rewatched by many every single year. I believe you said your pops said that this is a movie that terrified him.
Yes,
Um,
my prime.
so,
This is one he
so
don't like watching. Yeah.
Right. So this is a movie that makes people feel uncomfortable in nature. I'm going to go ahead and give this thing a solid four
Yeah.
bassinets
Hmm.
out of five. Four
Yeah.
bassinets out of five.
Very good number. Very good number. Kind of concurring with where my head's at. I think of movies like this that don't let you feel good. You know what I mean? We're not here to. I'm thinking about movies that aren't here to entertain you,
Yeah.
right? Like I think of Seven, right? This is not supposed to make you feel good. Like it's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you feel, not necessarily feel good. It's supposed to make you feel, right? This is not a good time. Passion of the Christ. We talked about it last, you know, last MOTN Live, Fridays at 6 p.m. Um, and for what this movie wants to do, it accomplishes it tenfold, right? It wants to fill you with that sense of enclosure, that sense of evil, especially given 1968. This is right out of like what, the Vietnam War, the end of the flower power movement, you know?
It's a
People
turning
legit
point in
thought
history.
people thought it was the end of the world when this movie was coming around. They thought it was it. Like truth, justice, and the American way was dead at this point. We failed, you
Right.
know? It was such a dark time, right? Um, and this is like one of the most cynical films I think we've ever reviewed. Where it's like, no, we're not good people. Even the greatest of us, the most virtuous of us, can find that darkness in ourselves to rationalize evil. You know, Rosemary is a rationalization of evil. She's not. By the end of this movie, she's not a good person, and it's not her fault. But it is her fault because she still had a choice. That's one thing that God gave us was choice, right? So even she's corrupted by the onslaught of this film.
Preach, brother Michael.
So
Preach.
it's so cynical that you have to wash your mouth out with soap after watching this movie because I don't want to feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm a pretty virtuous man. I try to be, you know. Watching this makes me like crap. None of us ain't shit, aren't we? We're all just kind of, given the right situation, we're all Rosemary, aren't we? It's like, no, we're not. I refuse to believe that. I
Right.
would hope that I would do the right thing in a very, 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 very tumultuous situation. I've been in very tumultuous situations and I actually did the right thing. Didn't feel that way at the time, but I did it, because it's the right thing to do. It's hard for me to feel that way as an older person watching films. You know what I'm saying? So for this to invoke that kind of emotion in me, automatically puts it for me 0 out of 5 bassinets. It's epicness, it's filming. I hate to give it a 4.5, but it's for what it wants to do. It's so good. For me, it's like a 4.5 out of 5. It's not a perfect film because I do think there are some pacing issues. I think that, but what we know what gives it the 0.5%. We never see the baby. We never see Rosemary's baby. And I think that's so smart because it's you what they could there's nothing they could have shown that could have painted the picture of how disturbing it looked in my mind. Sometimes movies need to not do that. You know what I mean? You don't have to show us the industrial lights and magic baby. Let us see her face and her reaction will sell it, right? It's perfect, perfectly pitched.
She just started rocking the cradle and was cool with
Da,
it,
da,
bro.
da, da,
I
da,
was
da.
like, fuck. I think
Oh,
that's what I said.
yeah,
I think I
yeah,
was like,
God,
when that ended, I was just like, damn. All
damn,
right.
full game. I guess
All
that's it,
right.
huh? And then what does it do? It pans right back out to the scenes of the brownstones and the
What?
New York, and another day goes by.
Dude.
You're like, it's over, isn't it? It's Jover, isn't it? Uh this movie's heartbreak. Like, I don't think I'm gonna watch this again for a while because I don't, but would I recommend it? Yeah, this is horror. This is horror pedigree. This is horror that we don't get a lot. It's existential horror. Like you said, it's almost Lovecraftian in how macro it is. There's nothing she could have done. There's absolutely nothing. Even when she tried to escape, she couldn't escape.
No.
That's crazy. Like, your fate is sealed. And I think her fate was sealed before the movie even started.
And that makes it, that makes it rewatchable in my opinion, for sure rewatchable. And it is the type of thing I don't know if I'd watch it on a date necessarily,
Nah,
but if I had the quiet like couple of friends over, yeah, we can put this in and watch this on a Halloween type of night for
you
sure.
don't you don't want a female or male, whatever your persuasion is,
Mm-mm,
romance, potential romance option getting
mm-mm,
bad juju from you while watching
mm-mm.
this movie.
No,
This is
bro.
not a date movie.
No.
Because even I would be giving her the hairy eyeball. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you vibing with this so well? Why aren't you scared? Like, is this normal for you? Shut
Oh, that
up.
was a real good movie, Mike.
That was a great movie, right? That's not what I wanted. Can I just drop you off at the house? No, we're going to my friends. How many times have you been with somebody and like, hey, you want to hang out with me and my friends? I don't really know them like that, but you know me, right? Yeah. You want to go hang out with? We're going to dinner. I don't want to be around these people, man. I don't know any
Mm,
of them. I'm just gonna be sitting there looking stupid while y'all have conversation. It's that same vibe, but times 1,000.
man.
But they're actually just devil worshippers. It's crazy.
Yeah. They-
Uh,
I
Ben, who
don't
you're with?
even know what else to say.
I don't know
It's
what to
like
say.
that is why I'm not going to tell you to go talk to your neighbor tomorrow because you don't know. You have no idea. I wish I could be like, yeah, talk to your neighbor, say hello, but you don't
The
know.
moral,
You don't
the
know.
moral of the story is mind your damn business.
Bingo.
The moral of the story,
Bingo.
and just keep your head on a swivel, right?
Uh,
If someone you love just comes into money or just gets amounts of success that are supernatural, don't just ride with it because it's good for you too. Question
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Because if somebody else just showed up in a Bentley the next day, aren't you good there, car? Don't worry about it. Just get in. Hell no. Hell to the no. Oh my God. And that's Rosemary's Baby, everybody. How are you feeling at the end of this review, Mr. Washington, Doug?
I actually feel better than I did. I have more smiles going than I had when I finished Rosemary's Baby. So I
Yeah,
thought it was a very good review. I definitely appreciate the fact that we both felt a tad bit uneasy with just how this whole thing went down. So
man. I
uh,
think
excellent film.
if you have an inkling of any kind of goodness, I don't think this is a feel good movie for anybody. Even horror geeks who like blood and guts and costuming and monsters, you're not like hype off this movie. You can't be, right? Like, how are you hype at sheer despair? Like,
It's like The Lighthouse. You're not hyped after watching The Lighthouse, bro, or The
no.
Babadook.
Or
You're
the
not like
Babadook.
you're not like, oh, I feel great.
Yeah.
Let's stoke. Let's,
Yeah. Nah,
nah,
I need a shower. I need to call
yeah,
somebody I love, Doug.
yeah,
I need to touch grass. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And that is a good horror movie, right? Because it's actual horror.
for
It's not.
sure.
This is not here to make you laugh or make you happy or make you sad. It's make you think and feel. Wash, any final thoughts before we close this bad boy out?
Not from me, my friend. Thank you very much. It's been a fantastic cast.
Amazing cast. Thank you so much, Wash, for as always, as being here to kind of go through these horrors and delights of the Nerdiverse. You know what I mean? Kind of feel like nerd cosmonauts sometimes, where we just travel the spaceways and whatever planet we hit, Starfield levels, we just see what's on the planet.
See
This
what's up.
time, this time, what's that stuff she drunk? That white milk. I don't with
I
the little
don't know.
spots in it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
The
Looks
things you
terrible.
should want to do is like this episode. The things you should want to do is comment. Let us know your thoughts on this film. Let us know if you've watched this for the first time because of this podcast. And subscribe to the channel so that you're made aware when new content goes live. I'm, of course, Ben, your host, Mike G. He's been the Jedi Counselor Wash, and we are the masters of the Nerdiverse. With that being said, I'm going to say MOTN out. Till next time, ladies and gents.